What the heck is up, my cute little chickpeas? Today we're going to have a big conversation that I've been having in my VIPs, inside of Alchemy of Love, inside of these experiences that are so close to my heart, Love Club, as we go through the Soft and the Savage challenge. It is how to find love and how to make money and how can you focus them at the same time. I know for myself, I didn't think I could. It was this thing where it was like I was so focused on building my career after going through domestic violence and leaving that and going on this single season. I was, yes, thinking about love and eventually wanted love, but I also was so afraid of men and so afraid of love that I would just threw myself into work. And I was like, I need to establish myself as a thought leader. I need to establish myself as a business owner. I don't have time for relationships. I need to solely focus on my business. And honestly, it worked. Like building a business out of trauma, it works for all of us. And I'm sure you've been through that experience where it's like, yes, it worked, but you hit this moment of burnout and you're like, I can't go at this rate anymore. And it's not even that I can't, I really don't even want to. I don't want to build because I don't have a life, right? And there's a season for growth and there's a season of learning and there's a season of being all in. And I'm sure we've all been through that, but it's this moment of just like, yeah, I don't want to anymore. And so you kind of shut that part out. And you probably did what I did. You swung the pendulum the other route and you went, well, I want love. So I must shut down this part of myself, this hustle part of myself, and swing the complete opposite direction and throw myself into dating and relationships and what the world calls feminine energy and just be this fluffy little human being running around Bali and florals and what is it called? Tie-dye. And, I must be doing all these things and just be a girl and focus on love and all the things. And so I'm going to talk about how you balance both and how I balanced both over these last 8 months to really amplify my dating life and to call in really extraordinary men, specifically one man, and how to like quadruple X, it's beyond 10X at this point, my bank account, and how you can do the same and how to really harmonize these two parts of yourself together, because how you do one thing is how you do everything. Right? And sometimes, yes, things get other focuses, but there is a way of doing this that I've mastered and I've spoken about for the last 8 months. I posted on my Instagram in Q4 of 2023. I was like, this is what I'm doing. I created this whole training around it. I was like, it's going to happen. It's fucking inevitable. Here's how I'm going to do it, and shared it with you guys. And I want to break that down a little bit here and add a little bit more information, but there is a training on that. That breaks that down even more. But this also applies for you if you're single. I do want to have a caveat to that, because sometimes when we're in that season of like, yeah, I'm not really looking for a relationship, we think podcasts like this aren't for us. It is, because you're either preparing for love, or you're thinking about love, or you're dating love, or you're focusing on loving yourself. And this zones in on that. So this is still for you. And so I'm so excited that you're here. We have new episodes every single week, so you have a plethora of episodes. I think this is episode like 116. Yeah, we're at 116 episodes, so go binge. We have so many things from dating and trauma and relationships and branding and marketing and money and, dating at a high level and, health and everything in between, because I really wanted this to be the one-stop shop for anyone that is really looking to elevate and amplify, right? Leaders that are looking for love, leaders that are looking to build their personal brand, leaders that are looking to show up big in this world. Like, you feel the power inside of yourself. You've known it since you were a little girl, but portraying that to the world and attracting the right types of relationships and attracting the right type of clients, that's been kind of a kerflunkle. So that's what this space is. I'm so excited that you're here. My name is Laura Patricia Martin. Yes, I walk this talk and I've been going on this journey, but I've also been studying this for the last 10 years. Sometimes we have these like people on the internet and they just like give you their life coaching experiences, and I love them for that. But I've actually studied under the best of the best to understand trauma and understand it, somatic attachment therapy, to really shift the way your brain fires and wires to amplify your experience. This has been my life's work. I've been this weird kid that's been like obsessed with the dark side of the human brain and what makes people do what they do. And I've been, just kind of chasing the human brain my whole life, and somehow ended up here on this podcast with you. So I'm so excited that you're here. My Instagram is @ITS Laura Patricia Martin if you're new. So it's Laura Patricia Martin. And I have daily content there that's extraordinary, and it would mean the absolute world to me if you went and you wrote us a review. Right now, my focus is this podcast and getting it to the 1%. We have episodes every Monday. I do this for free. It really does help us more than you know to just rate it on Spotify, head over to Apple, scroll all the way down to the bottom. You'll see the review section, and just writing a review there to let us know what's coming fresh, what you liked, what you didn't like, and all things in between to really just get this up there. And so I thank you in advance for that. So let's dive in, shall we? So the two core elements of us, money, men, or love, let's say love. It could be anyone that you're loving. But we focus on these two elements a lot. Even if you're focusing on health, it's probably because you want to feel better in your skin. In love, you want to feel better in your skin as you go live on the internet, or as you lead boardrooms, or as you do these things. Like, it is always about, especially for high achievers, how do we get more success? And how can we be loved on the pursuit of success? Because we know that as we go and pursue money and we go and pursue our success, two is always better than one. One is safer emotionally, but two is always better than one. And so the two ways that I have done this, I have mastered this. I have coined the terms. I have sat in deep, deep moments to figure out, how the fuck did I get here? What am I doing? And breaking it all down for copy and paste models for you to do it. And I've used these methods. I've given them to my clients, and they've done the same thing. So I know they fucking work when you apply them, right? I know when you lean in, these things work. And so these two things that I focused on for the last 8 months that really amplified my dating life and my bank account are the pre-housewife era method and a luxury personal brand. And you might be thinking, how in the heck is that related, Laura? Like, I get the pre-housewife era thing for the dating and the men and the stuff, but why is personal branding all of a sudden a part of this? I've been following you for dating. What the heck is going on? It fucking matters. I'm going to break that down. And if you're here for marketing and you're like, I'm only here for marketing, why do I care about pre-housewife era? I don't want to be a housewife. Yes, you do. Like, not like giving up your passions and your things, but let me explain what it actually is, right? Pre-housewife era method, if you're new here, if you're an OG, what have you, it's the foundations of everything I do. Everything. And so if you think of a triangle and you think of the base, we have living sanctuary. And then on the right side, we have savage CEO. And on the left side, we have sacred slut. This makes a triangle. On the bottom, if living sanctuary is not established, and I will break all three of these down, if it's not established, we weigh too heavy on certain things, right? I told you in the beginning of this, I naturally, because the gift of my trauma that creates this internal urgency inside of me that needs to provide, that needs to go after things, that needs to earn, that has this hustle that, a lot of us, we try and mimic. Like, a lot of people ask me how I get so much done in a day, and I make a joke, but it is true. The past that I had gave me an internal urgency that you cannot make up. You can't. Anyone that's been through trauma knows exactly what the fuck I'm talking about. You go after these things. And so I have this savage part of me, this discipline, this masculine energy that is unmatched, right? The amount of things I can get done, the amount of vision I have in the world, the way that I want to change the world I've had since I was 4 years old, it's unmatched. That's what mostly people hire me for, is the quote unquote daddy energy that I have, this way that I see the world, the way that I see the systems and the structures in my life. I run my life like a business, and then I let the magic flow. And that part of me, if I don't have living sanctuary established, the bottom half, when I didn't have that established, I was so dysregulated. I had no relationships. I had no hormonal cycle. I had zero sex drive. I thought I was asexual. I was a really shitty friend. I was very me-centric. All I cared about was money. All I could think about was money. All I could think about was work. All I could think about was hustling. All I could think about was the gym and like doing 2 fucking F45 workouts a day. And like, I was just in go. I was riddled with cortisol. Everything was egocentric. Everything was a chase. Everything was to get ahead. I always felt behind. I always felt in lack. I always felt someone would find out the truth of who I was. I always felt like I didn't belong at the tables that I was at, No matter how many stages I was in, no matter how many sold out places I had, no matter how much money was in my bank account, I always felt like a fraud. I always felt like someone would find out about me, and it blocked me from intimate relationships. It made me an asshole in intimate relationships. I kept calling in these like really soft boys, and I would eat them for fucking breakfast, and I hated it. Like, I would do it and it would just happen out of auto response, and then at night I'd be like, why do I do that? And that's what was happening when I didn't yet understand the living sanctuary concept inside of the pre-housewife era, because I didn't want to get rid of that, but I didn't know how to soften. I didn't feel safe yet. And then the other side of this is the sacred slut, right? How many of you have used sex as a manipulation tool? You either withhold it or you give it, thinking, if I just give it to someone, you'll love me, right? If I withhold it, you'll give me what I want, right? Or you use your body as a tool. And you use this flirtation that women have. You use this part of yourself from a wounded place. Someone validate me for how I look. Someone validate me for being this woman. Someone validate me for my external appearance. And it would get you so far. There's women like this all over. You see it everywhere. They're beautiful and they're hollow inside. And if you know me, I'm a double Libra. I am all about aesthetics. I am all about taking care of yourself. I am all about the personal branding side of the aesthetic side of how you sell yourself. We are aesthetically driven human beings from a primal aspect. It is how we know who to mate with. Beautiful things attract beautiful things. I am here for it. But if we don't have an established living sanctuary, we are just giving ourselves away in hopes someone will validate the fact that there's nothing inside of us. Right? This is how I got so heavily into drugs. So I was like, it numbed me enough to feel alive. I felt fucking good until the come down. I felt confident. I didn't have a body dysmorphia or eating disorder stuff anymore. I felt so good until the come down. And so when you're in the sacred slut, you have body liberation. You feel good. You know how to work your body, how it moves, how to nourish it. You know how to dress it. You know how to adore it. You know how to take care of yourself. And that is magnetism. That is this form of like confidence and leadership that attracts leaders. And so I started to establish these different formulas and these different things that I teach you in different programs, Love Club, Alchemy of Love, things of that nature. But the core essence of all of this was the living sanctuary. Because you can have Savage CEO and Sacred Slut. A lot of us do. That's how we were trained. That's what we do. But the bottom part of the living sanctuary is all about a regulated nervous system. Because there's all this talk about feminine energy. There's all this talk about feminine energy. But there's not enough talk on you need to feel safe enough to be in your feminine energy. Right? I talked about how I am a savage. It's so cute how my squiggly brain works. It's my favorite part of myself. But there's this inner part that I also love. I am so soft. I am so feminine. I am so sensitive. I care so much about women. All like my sisterhood is so important to me. My peace, my energy. I am so disciplined around protecting my energy. It is so important because if this living sanctuary isn't stable in the foundation, the rest of the other things that I'm doing topple over. And I can tell right away. So the living sanctuary is the feminine energy, but it's more than just being a quote unquote girl. It is actually being regulated and being a woman. Those are two different things. It is the coming home of being a woman. These foundations, this triangle, this is what birthed Alchemy of Love. It's the journey of becoming a woman, right? And in the process of that, you attract a high value, emotionally available leader of a man, because that's what they're looking for, someone's peace. But in order to bring someone peace, you have to be peace. We have to understand these things. And so I went on this journey, right? I knew I was doing love wrong. I knew I was doing it wrong, but I just kept doing stuff because I wanted to get it right. I kept taking courses. I kept traveling to learn from the best. I kept throwing myself into stuff. And it wasn't until I understood the trauma side. It wasn't so much about learning tools. They're great. But it was about embodying all parts of myself. That's what the pre-housewife era method is. It's embodying all archetypes of yourself because you have all these elements. You're stronger in some than the others, but you have all of these parts. And when you can really get grounded in this, you attract love, you attract sisterhood, you attract leadership because it's felt, because you're an embodiment of your work. You're safe for everyone around us. A lot of us are seeking in this world, and I did it too, to find someone to make us feel safe. Can you just love me enough to make me feel safe? Can you love me enough to make me feel sexually liberated? Can you love me enough to make me feel like I'm successful? Can you tell me I'm a good girl so I can feel like I am good enough? We're coming to the world looking for love versus being love and watching our world around us be met with that. So many of us struggle with it. And so when you start to balance all three of these, all three of them flow naturally. You naturally walk into a room and you have that charisma. You have that, when that girl that just like walks in a room and you're like, what the heck is she on? And she might trigger you, or you might want to be her friend, or you might want to date her, or you might want to pay her. You have no idea. You're just like, you have something I want. I don't know what it is. It's like the essence of a baby. All eyes are on baby. You're so freaking cute. What is this? That's the truth of feminine energy. And so this archetype of the pre-housewife era foundation, it's feminine. All of it, even the savage, because you could still be in your authority. You can still be in your savage and be feminine. It's only toxic masculinity when we don't have the living sanctuary. And the reason I named it living sanctuary is because you become a living sanctuary. A lot of us go on these luxury trips and we go to the spa and we go and get these things and we do all this fucking stuff so that we can feel and be in these sanctuaries versus how do I become a sanctuary? How do I become a sanctuary and be a leader? How do I become a sanctuary in my home so that a man finds peace in me and I actually am the easiest thing to love versus fighting myself thinking that I am too much to be loved? I went on this whole fucking thing these last 8 months. I started to study men, so I stopped fearing them. That's how I came up with these principles. That's what I teach you in Alchemy of Love. I started to study the nervous system and all of this stuff, so I no longer feared what was happening in my body. It makes sense. Like, for example, today, I have a very soft, gooey heart today. I know exactly what's going on with my body. So I don't fear it when it happens. I don't get mad at it. I don't bulldoze it with my toxic masculinity. I just sit with it. And I know my authority is still established. I know this is part of my power, is the openness of my heart. And how that attracts love and how that attracts a man that, is incredible. It blows my freaking mind. The understanding, the conversation, the depth, the leadership, the gift from God that comes when you establish this. And if we're not focusing on this, we're scrapping and grappling and more knowledge and more things and more this and more that, not recognizing the more that you're grappling, the more that you're coming from a wounded place. What needs to happen is you're sitting here going, oh my God, I love myself so much. I'm understanding what it means to be the safe place to land. I'm moving from me focus to we focus because trauma makes me feel like I am just absorbed in my own fucking shit and I can't see life through the lens of the actual pleasure and the principles and the joy that life is supposed to be seen through. But yet I'm seeing it through the struggle and I'm seeing it through the drama and I'm seeing it through my amygdala. But how can I now step into this piece so that I can see what is happening right in front of me through the lens of the present moment versus the triggers and the traumas of my past? That is the living sanctuary. You are peace. You are joy. You are love. This changed my whole life. And it doesn't mean I don't get triggered. It doesn't mean I don't have bad days where I don't say things I don't mean to my man. It doesn't mean I don't have, shitty feelings or say stupid shit or get wrapped up into some bullshit. I do. I'm fucking human. But this is my baseline. Living sanctuary is my baseline. Being a living, breathing, living sanctuary is my baseline. And it has changed the way that I am with my dating life. And it has changed who I am with my bank account. Because I'm not grappling at success. Money flows naturally to me, right? When I was rock bottom, I was 19K in debt. When I first started this, I was dealing with familial bullshit. I was hit by a car, so I was out for the count physically, and I couldn't release the stresses in my body the way I normally did, and I didn't know what the fuck to do, and I was going stir crazy. I had just been dumped by the worst possible way, where someone just dumps you and leaves and doesn't explain anything. I was in a city I fucking hated. Hate's a strong word, but I strongly disliked. It wasn't really the most opportune time to be like, this seems like a good time to 10x in men in marketing. Let's fucking go. But I did. And the way that I went about this is I used these archetypes. How can I come into leadership? Because I recognized I had built my first business off of a trauma response. How can I build my business? Not making me the center of attention, but making you guys. How can I start to share stories and be more authentic? And how can I start to, really see you and listen to you? We went from 4 clients to 40 when I switched this. My bank account went from nothing to 6 figures when I switched this. Because I stopped being the hero and looking for my business to validate the fact that I did shitty things in my past. And I started to build a business of service. I started to build a business as a CEO that was regulated and at peace with herself. And that puts your prefrontal cortex online, and you see the world in a completely different way. And if you're struggling in business or you're struggling within your job, it's most likely this that you're missing. You're too hung up in trying to prove yourself, and you're too strong in this wounded savage CEO archetype, and you're not recognizing that you have to get to a regulated place in order to grow sustainably. And so it works for both this pre-housewife era method. It works for dating and attracting a high-level man that is established in his power, and it has enough space in his heart to care for you in all of your emotions. And it helps to call in high-level clients because you're now in your authority and your leadership, and it's no longer coming from your wounds to prove yourself. It's coming from service to actually use your gifts from God to serve the community that is in front of you. And instead of going wide, we're going deep, and we're creating a safe place for everyone to land, the living sanctuary. And then everything else falls into place. The magnetism from the sacred slut, the leadership and the authority from the savage CEO, it can't help but be successful. Like, there's no other option but success when you utilize this method. And then the other part of this, personal brand. You might be thinking, Laura, what? How? In the last episode, I talked a lot about this because I can't get over the fact that y'all aren't paying enough attention to this. And so when I was looking at all this stuff going on, I was looking at my social media, and I was looking at how I aesthetically looked, and I was looking at the networking events I was attending, and I was looking at my reputation and how I was fitting into the reputation I was given versus creating the reputation I wanted to lead in. And so I curated everything. I know the power that is within me, that God put on my heart. I know what I'm here to do. I don't necessarily know how, because that is God's plan and I'm just here as a conduit. But I know what I'm here to do. And it wasn't being portrayed correctly. Because I didn't understand marketing, because I didn't want to do the work, because my job is to be a coach, and my job is to focus on somatics and understanding the human brain and trauma, and I'm supposed to just pick this lane. And if I was talking about business and money, I would just be another one of those coaches, and I don't want to talk about business and money because it's another part of my brain that I don't want to fucking use, and I don't want to have to do this. I just want to focus on the one tool that I know that feels really good, not realizing that everything is marketing and sales. Everything around you, your dating life is marketing and sales. Your profiles online, marketing and sales. Your the way you go to networking events, the way you go to sister circles, the way you enter into the world, marketing and sales. You walk, and you are a walking billboard for what you want. and the standard of which you want to be met with. The way that I dress, the way that I speak, the energy that I have, it sets the standard before I ever even have to speak. That's my personal brand. It's power. It's elite. And it gets me into the rooms I want to be in because of the impact that I want to make. And so I started to look at my personal brand, right? I started to look at, my Instagram, because everyone on the internet looks everyone up. Even if you're not an entrepreneur, everyone looks each other up. Do I want to be friends with this person? Let me search their social media and see what story they tell about themselves and what they're posting. Do I want to date this person? Let me look them up. Oh, there's a frat boy. No, I don't want to date this person, even though they told me differently. I'm looking at their profile and I'm seeing how they represent themselves. I don't want that. Let me see if this is the person that I want to hire. This is how they represent themselves. I don't want them representing my brand. Or this is how they represent themselves. I'm going to pay them more because this is fucking extraordinary and I want that for my brand. This looks like a leader. I want to surround myself with them. This is what we do in the modern age. We have to be known for something. That's our reputation. And so building this personal, that's what I started to do. I moved to Florida where I wanted to be for so long. It didn't fucking make sense. I had no fucking money. I started on Instagram, or I started on Facebook groups for boss babes, and I started networking in there before I ever even fucking moved here. I set up coffees. I was exhausted and I networked my fucking ass off because I wanted to curate my reality, of which I have now. I knew my long-term game. I went to sister circles. I joined yoga studios. I did my things. I built up my offline brand to build my relationships. And then I also worked on my online brand. I focused on what type of clients do I want to call in? What do they need to see online in order to find me as an authority? I'm not a cute person. I'm an authority. I need my brand to portray that. I need to start speaking with conviction like this. I need to start dressing in a certain way. I need to start representing myself in the way that my soul knows myself to be. I'm not faking to be someone else. This is who I knew I was supposed to be all along. But because I was told somewhere that this type of power is going to intimidate men, I toned it down. I was quieter. I was softer. And there is a soft part of me that men get access to. There is this part of me that my friends get access to. There is this part of me that sometimes my clients get access to. But there's a both and. So I started to establish myself as a thought leader. And what happened was men started looking me up on Instagram too. And matches became matches. That's actually how the current guy that I'm seeing, it happened. We were in a peer mastermind, but he was watching one of my reels one time when I was talking, and he's like, I like the way that she thinks about relationships. It's a very European way of thinking of relationships, and he slid into my DMs and commented about that. And we started our friendship first around that because it was just an interesting conversation because of my brand. My brand is actually the thing that had him invite me to co-host a retreat because he saw me as the thought leader in feminine energy and he wanted a feminine touch. Your brand matters, even if you're not in the coaching space, even if you're not an entrepreneur. Your personal brand represents the power that you're so deeply craving, where you're sitting there waiting. I wish someone would just have a conversation with me and they would understand how much love I have and how much power I have. I wish someone would just discover me. If that person on stage just discovered me, they would rip me and put me on stage right away. If he just saw, how much love I have inside of myself, he would then choose me. You literally get to portray that image in whatever way that you want, and you're choosing not to. We have to be smarter in how we're representing ourselves. We have to tell the story of which we want to be met with. I want to be a thought leader. I am a thought leader. But when I was at that stage, I was 19K in debt. I had just been dumped. I was hit by a car and my body wasn't working. I had familial trauma. I was struggling with the deepest depression that I had struggled with in fucking years. I was about to be homeless. I had no fucking clue what was happening. But I want to be a thought leader. Let's go. Here's how I'm going to brand myself. because I didn't need my external reality to validate my internal power to then create this personal brand. I felt my internal power and I curated my external reality. It's a movie. What story do I want to tell? 8 months now, I have everything I knew I would have. Every single thing. That's the perks of creating a luxury brand. And yes, that is online, but there's also offline. And the way that I speak, the way that I hold myself, the way that I dress, you will not see me in athleisure unless I am going to the gym. And I'm not saying you have to do the wild and bananas things that I do, but I know what tables I want to sit at. I study people for a living. I studied the tables I want to sit at. How do they run their lives? And it's not that it's inauthentic. This is what's authentic to me. I help my clients create personal brands that are authentic to them, right? How to pull out their witchy vibes and how to pull out their hippie vibes and how to pull out their athletic vibes, how to pull out these different parts of themselves that are so unique. That's what I do. It's not like, for me, it's luxury. For me, it's bold. For me, it's thought leaders. For me, it's high ticket. For people I'm around, we pull that out because you have an authentic code and that needs to be represented. And so how this impacted, like, yes, that impacted my bank account, obviously. And for me, it lost it to 6 figures doing this and focusing on this. But as well as my dating, it gave me this sense of personal power. Because to me, personal branding is, yes, your reputation of how, like, the reputation you create and what you be met, how do you want to be met in the world, and you start to, write that story yourself versus matching the story that's being told about you. But also it gives you a sense of personal power. I feel worthy of a high value man. Today I got a message to him that he is so proud to say my name. The rooms that he walks into. That. I want to be the person that you are proud of. So I curate my personal brand in my everyday life, the type of friend I am, the way I treat my body, the way I take care of my soul, my connection with God. I make sure that is the thing I'm known for, so that when you say my name, you're proud. That's my personal brand. There's not a bad thing someone could say about me. And if they do, I know it's not true. I don't have any skeletons in my closet. I own any time I've made a mistake. I own the parts of myself that are quite nasty. I've owned them. I've worked through them. I've handed them over to God. I've done the trauma work. And so that my personal brand feels free, feels good. So that when a man came to claim me, I felt worthy of it instead of pushing it away. Because the amount of times when love came and it was a good fucking man, because I still didn't feel cleaned up inside, because I still did not do the work of becoming a living sanctuary, because I did not do the work of freeing myself of my past and accepting who I was, it was this fear that they would find out. So my personal brand was, I was good at being liked, but I really sucked at being loved. I really fucking sucked at it. And it wasn't until I started to actually create a heart-centered personal brand that was catered to who I am, online and offline, was I able to receive love for who I truly am, flaws and all. But to be someone and know that you would be dumb if you fucked this up. And like when someone, like I know my partner will be so proud to be with me. I created that version of me, that personal brand. And that's the same with my clients. You're happy to share that I am your mentor. You are happy to say that you work with me. You are proud to be in my containers. You show my brand to the world. You're like, this is who I'm fucking working with. Leaders walk with leaders. And so focusing on these aspects will change your life. Focusing on first establishing that internal part of yourself, that personal inner power. That's what Alchemy of Love is. That is what that is. It's the internal power that I focused on. And then I switched to how can I then curate my external power to be met with that? And that's that personal brand. That's that luxury personal brand. You first establish this part and then you create art on the outside. And so I focused on these two areas and everything changed, y'all. Everything. It wasn't these sneaky little things and these back end stuff. Like that was amateur. You need to fucking learn that eventually. But if you still haven't had the success that you know you should be having by now, it's because you haven't focused on these two areas. Just focus on this and your life will change. I promise. Everything will change. In the day and the age when AI is rising and we're all afraid of fucking humans, yet we want to be around them, and we have all these intimacy and vulnerability blocks, and we're curating all our fucking reality online to be fake, and we're renting cars versus being in reality, and we're doing the things and nothing is real and we don't know what the fuck to do. People are craving authenticity. People are craving authenticity. So you have to establish your inner power and then curate the story you are telling so your outer personal brand is met. And it doesn't mean you have to have a business. It is everywhere you go is marketing and sales. Everywhere. The job you want, the bonus you want, the push, whatever, the promotion, the fucking deepening in your relationship, the deepening in friendships, the deepening in your health, the establishing yourself, the getting funding for things that you fucking care about, for getting pitched for certain things, to get ahead for certain rewards that you want, anything you're going after, these two things are what you need in order to get them. Everything else is a distraction. Everything else. It changed my life. Pre-housewife era method and creating a luxurious, established, well-known personal brand. These two things. And so I would love to hear from you. Which one are you leaning into? Which one are you like, yeah, I have this established, but I need this? Like, what is sparked within you in this conversation? It's different than any of the other dating things of like learning to flirt and doing the things and being a girl. Like, it's different. That's the point. My world is different because I've tested literally fucking everything in order to get here. I have failed 1,000 fucking times because I knew this would be my reality one day. Which day? I had no fucking clue, but I held on and I focused on the foundations of what mattered. And I just kept getting better and better and better at them until my reality actually matched what I had been put in my journal for so long. And now I am using these methods to refine these methods to do it again. So catch me in 8 months. How I do it again. I will become a millionaire. That's my goal. And it will happen. There's no doubt in my soul that I will be a millionaire and I will be with my hubby and I'll have beautiful babies. Watch. I said it 8 months ago that this current reality was gonna happen. Watch. And if that is you, you're like, I am in this. I'm creating bigger reality this year. I am stepping into the arena. I know you've been skating on the surface and you've been taking courageous action, but you know there's another fucking edge. I am the mentor for you to walk with you on that, to claim the bigness. I have a few spaces open for VIP. They're filling very fucking fast. And we have Alchemy of Love that's happening, which is for that inner power, to establish that inner stability, to step into womanhood, to ultimately attract a man. Like, you have to be a woman to attract a man. You can't be a little girl. That's why we get met with little boys. It's coming into womanhood. And then for personal branding and stepping into that arena, I have VIP experiences available. I also have that for dating and relationship. So reach out to me on Instagram. My personal Instagram is it's Laura Patricia Martin, @ITS Laura Patricia Martin. And I know this landed for you. I know it did. Scroll down, go to Apple, scroll down, all the way down. You'll see the review section. Give us that 5-star review and write a review. It does so much more than you know, baby. So much more. And it means the world. So I thank you in advance. Let me know on Instagram what landed for you and what you're doing next. Listening only gets us so far. Your life changes when you actually take action. Do something with this. And so I love you so much. Have a beautiful day. Feel into your body. And go fucking conquer the shit out of today, babe. Go conquer the shit out of it. Share this with someone. I'm going to keep just saying things. Share this with someone. Do something. Do something with this. Don't just let it fester. Do something with this. And I will see you in the next episode. Okay? Bye.